Now, as Americans vote for their next president on Tuesday, the 5th of November, apart from party lines, that's whether to vote for Democrats or Republicans, there are also key issues that will play a critical role in the mind of voters, which might likely turn tables either in favor or against the two candidates, that is Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. And TV's international affairs reporter Duncan Haemba is following the race on the road to the White House and now joins me for a live update. And Haemba, a very good evening from Kenya. Tell us exactly where you are and what's the latest from that end?
A good morning from Phoenix, Arizona. In this part of the world, it is in the morning. That's why the sun is high up. It is again chilly. The winds are blowing. Winter is setting in. That is the kind of atmosphere or weather that we'll have to grapple with for the next few days. Of course, we are 10 hours behind Kenya. On Sunday, we'll be crossing actually to the far east, where we'll be now 7 hours behind Kenya when we go to the state of Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia to be specific. As you have said, this is the most consequential election in the U.S. history. Perhaps next as big as the 2008 contest was. That pitted former President Barack Obama and the late Senator John McCain, who was from Arizona. This was his home county. Sorry, this was his home state, and therefore this is equally a very consequential election. Quickly, let us look at the issues, some of the key issues that will be at the center of this election that perhaps has influenced the early voting as well as the final voting on Tuesday. That will be D-Day here in the United States of America. Let us have a look at the key issues in this election.
They sent her to negotiate peace before this war started.
You adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy.
With several opinion polls maintaining that the 2024 U.S. election remains a tightest race between the two presidential candidates, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, the following are the 7 major issues that might influence how the country will vote. Economy with 41%. Protecting democracy at 21%, immigration is 12%, reproductive rights 11%, healthcare 6%, climate change 3%, and foreign policy. Regarding the state of the economy, inflation is reported to have come down dramatically from its peak of 9% in June 2022, with current inflation below 3% and food price inflation just over 2%. Both candidates say they will address high prices. Donald Trump promises to ensure prices go down, while Kamala Harris advocates a federal government ban on price gouging on food and groceries. On protecting democracy, the 2016 and 2020 elections come to the fore, with Donald Trump coming in sharp focus. During the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton, who won the popular vote but lost the Electoral College to Trump, raised concerns about rigging, with Russia being accused of interfering with the election. Then come 2020, after losing to President Joe Biden, the incumbent then, Trump, vehemently rejected the results, leading a series of protests whose climax were the chaotic scenes of January 6, 2021 insurrection, when he addressed his supporters who stormed the Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., in what was seen as an attempted coup, 2 months after his defeat. As a consequence, he unceremoniously left the White House, refusing to hand over to his successor, Joe Biden, the 46th president. 21% of the voters are said to be keen on the issue of protecting democracy of the world's freest country. 12% are keen on matters immigration. U.S. border policy remains a key electoral issue for both candidates, with some polls indicating that 77% of Americans believe the southern border is experiencing either an ongoing crisis or is a major problem. 53% are said to support expansion of the border wall, and 63% would support the president temporarily closing the border to asylum seekers when the border is overwhelmed. Donald Trump has promised to carry out what he calls the largest deportation operation should he find his way back to the Oval Office, targeting undocumented immigrants. America's foreign policy will also be a big issue. The Middle East crisis shadow in Gaza is a crucial matter that has both candidates gasping for breath on pronouncements to commit. Iran's increasing direct involvement with Israel, a key and dependable ally of the United States, could make the Middle East conflict a higher priority issue for American voters, particularly in Michigan, which is one of the battleground states and has the highest concentration of Arab Americans. Duncan Haemba, NTV.
It still remains a very tight race, and as campaigns enter the home stretch, candidates are engaging in what you can call man-to-man marking. Yesterday, Thursday, Vice President Kamala Harris of the Democratic Party was in Nevada, in Las Vegas, appealing to the Latino voters or Latino voting bloc, and she was accompanied by American singer and actress Jennifer Lopez, who is a Latino, who also made a very passionate appeal on behalf of Kamala Harris. On his part, Republicans, former President Donald Trump was in New Mexico, which also has a high concentration of the Latino voting bloc. So that is how neck-to-neck or man-to-man marking the candidates are engaging. Today, as we speak this morning, both candidates for the first time will be invading the battleground state or the swing state of Wisconsin. That is equally very critical in this particular election. Already, Democrats, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris has arrived. She will be having 3 whistle-stop rallies in Wisconsin. Then at night, Republicans, Donald John Trump will be in the same state. So that is how they are engaging in this man-to-man marking, with the 4 days to go before the big day on Tuesday. From Phoenix, Arizona, my name is Duncan Haemba. Back to you, Zainab, in studio.
International Affairs reporter Duncan Haemba there.